Hello. In this next section, we need to prepare some reports for the company using a suitable database package. A suitable package would be FileMaker Pro. Now, to import a CSV file, I need to click on the Convert an Existing File option in the Quick Start menu. And the file I want to import is saved in my supporting files folder, but it's a CSV file, so I need to click Show All Available Files, and then I can click on the file I need, NX1 Cars 02, click Open. Now, in these exams, the first row of CSV files is always the field name. Now the first row of these files always contains the field name, so I always select this option, Field Names, click OK. Make sure the FileMaker profile is saved in the same file as my other document, so I can find it again, click Save. And here's the data imported into FileMaker Pro. Next, I need to use suitable data types for each of the fields. I can change the data type by clicking on this arrow to the right of the field name and change the field's type. Now, the default type is text, so all of the ones I want as text, I can just leave them as they are. The ones I need to change are cost price, which should be currency. Well, currency is a number, and the euro symbol and the formatting need to be added later in the report. And the other one is dispatched, which should be Boolean. Now, Boolean means there are two possible values, and we can see here the two values in this case are 0 and -1. So the field type, well, I can change that to number because 0 and -1 are numbers. And to make it so that only 0 and -1 can be entered, I need to change the field options, go to the validation tab, and require that only members of a certain list can be entered. The list isn't yet defined, so I need to define it. I can add a new list, I call it Boolean, and I ensure that only 0 and -1 can be entered. So click OK, OK, OK again. And now this is what's in FileMaker Pro. So now this is a Boolean data type. Now I need to save a screenshot showing the field names and data types used. To do this, I can click on the Manage button in the toolbar, Database, and here's a list in the Fields tab of all of the field names and data types. A screenshot, Shift-Control-Command-4, select the area I want to copy, Command-Tab to my evidence document, and I can paste the screenshot where it says Step 44 Database Field Structure. So I can click OK here and go on to the next step. So the next step is to insert some records into the database. So I can do this by scrolling down to the bottom, click the plus symbol here, and just add in the data carefully. And when it comes to the dispatched field, no is conventionally represented by 0 and yes by -1. So I'm entering a 0 here. And for the second entry, just scroll down again, click the plus symbol again, and enter. Now I should check the data carefully for errors, because one small error can cost me a mark. Now I don't need to save the data because it's automatically saved in FileMaker Pro, so I can go on to the next step, which is to produce a report. Now this report has a new field called delivered price, and this should be the delivery charge, which is €300 plus the cost price. So first thing I can do is add a new field. I click the plus button here to add a new field. It's called delivered price. Now if I click the arrow to the right hand side of the field name, I can change the field type to calculation, because I need to calculate this from the cost price plus 300. So double click on cost price plus 300, so that's the formula. The calculation result is a number. I need to make sure this is selected so that I can display it in euros with the correct number of decimal points. Click OK, we can see it's calculated correctly. And now I can first find only the records I want to show in the report. Now I only want records where the country is Germany and the cars have not been dispatched. So I click on the Find button, in the country field enter Germany, and in the dispatched field enter 0. Click Perform Find, and we can see that 24 records have been found. Now we can go on to create the report, so we click on the New Report, New Layout Report button. If you can't see this in your toolbar, you need to go to View, Customize Status Toolbar, and then drag this button up to the toolbar, because by default this button isn't actually shown there. Once it's there, click on it, and we want to create a report. So the layout type is report, and there's no need for subtotals because we're not grouping by any particular category, but we do want a grand total because we have to show the total number of cars in this selection at the bottom of the report. So click Next. The fields we want to show are the VIN, model, power, engine size, cost price, color, port, distributor, and delivered price. Next. We're not grouping by category, so we can skip on to the next part. We do want to sort the records. It asks us to sort in ascending order of VIN. So click on VIN. Make sure the sort order is ascending. So that's fine. Click Next. Next we want a grand total. We want the total number of cars in this selection placed at the bottom of the report. So here we click Specify, and we need to add a new summary field. Let's call it total cars. And so the total cars are just the number of records in this report. So we can make it a count, and it doesn't matter which field we count because we're going to have the same number of each field. So let's just do a count of VIN. Click OK. Click OK. And click Add Grand Total. So now the total number of cars will be shown at the end of the report. Click Next. The default theme is fine. Click Next. Now we need some information. First we need a header. Let's make this top center large custom text. Dispatch manifest. Port Hamburg. And at the bottom left in the footer, let's use small custom text to add a name center number, candidate number. Click Next. We don't need a script, so click Next. And let's view this in browse mode first to see what the report looks like. It looks fine. It's got the title, it's got the footer, it's got the total number of cars. Things we need to change are firstly the cost price, the delivered price should be shown in euros to 2 decimal places. And secondly, the number of cars needs a label. So click on Edit Layout. First we change the cost price, so click on the cost price field, click the Inspector button, and the Data tab, Data Formatting, we change to currency, fixed number of 2 decimal places, and the currency symbol should be euros. On a Mac, I press Option 2 to type the euro symbol. And it doesn't tell me to, but I can make this right formatted. I click on Appearance, right aligned, just to make it look better. And similarly with the delivered price, again let's make that right aligned. Go to the Data tab, format should be currency, 2 decimal places. Option 2 gives me the euro symbol. So that's fine. Now the total cars, let's move the number across slightly and add in a text box with the label total cars for Germany. And if I click on that box, I can use the arrow keys to position it correctly. So that will be fine. Now this has everything we need. Now we just need to make sure it can be printed correctly. So the page orientation should be landscape. So I go to File, Page Setup, click the Landscape Orientation button. But we can see the line representing the page edge is still somewhere in the middle of the page. So we still are not fitting everything on a single page wide. In order to do this, I go back to File, Page Setup, and I need to change the scale appropriately so that everything will fit on the page. So let's try a scale of 80%. Here you can see nearly, but still the end of delivered price is missed off, so I need to change the scale once more. 75% should do. You can see that's fine, everything fits on the page. So we can go to File, Print. First it asks us, do we want to save changes to the layout? Yes, we do. And then we can print. But first I'm going to print a PDF. I'm going to open as a PDF in Preview, just to make sure it looks fine before I print it. So this is a single page wide. It has everything required. It looks fine, so I can go ahead and print it. Once that is printed, I can go on to the next part. And the next part is to produce labels. So I can first exit layout. I'll go back to layout 1. I'll click on show all because I want to get rid of the sort, which was previously only showing results for Germany. So now I have all 840 records. I can view as table layout because that's the easiest to do things with. Now I'm going to want to produce labels, and firstly I can select only the records that I want to show on the labels. So I can do another find, and I only want records that begin with VIN 37. Now, in order to search for records beginning with a certain text or number, I type in that text 37 and press Shift 8 for an asterisk symbol, the wildcard symbol. The country should be Spain, and the power should be E. So I enter all of those three, press perform find, and it will find, or it does find, 8 records, and we can see they meet the criteria that were specified. So now I can go on to make the labels. So again, click New Layout Report. This time I'm creating labels, so click on Labels, and I want 8 labels per sheet, 4 down, 2 across. So I need to use custom measurements, 2 across the page, and if I'm going to fit 2 across an A4 page, which is 20 centimeters wide, I need each label to be 10 centimeters wide. And the height of the labels, because an A4 sheet is nearly 30 centimeters long, 30 divided by 4 is slightly more than 7, so I'll make the label 7 centimeters high. Now the fields I need to put on the labels are VIN, model, port, distributor, and each of these should be on a separate line, so I can edit the layout here. I need a label for each one, so I need to manually type in the name of each field. And I need a heading at the top of the label, attention, and at the bottom of the label I need to put my name, centre number, candidate number. So that's all the contents of the label. Next. And let's view this in layout mode because we need to make some more changes. First we can delete this header because it's going to take up unnecessary space. The body of the label, the thing I need to change is the title or heading, because this should be in a larger font at the top of the label. So click on the inspector tool, appearance, and the font size, let's increase that to 14. That looks good. Everything else is as we need it, so I can click on exit layout, save layout, and let's see what the print preview looks like. Now it looks almost okay, except the page orientation is still landscape, so that we're not quite fitting 8 labels onto one page. So to change that, go to File, Page Setup, change back to Portrait Orientation, and we can also change the scale back to 100. And again, print, let's see what the PDF preview looks like. Almost okay, except it's still not quite fitting 8 labels on one page. So again, there's a lot of trial and error here. Let's go back and change the scale. Let's just change it to 90%. What does that look like? That looks fine. We have the 8 labels on one page. So I can print this. Print, and that's the end of this section. Thank you for watching.